friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 kitchen utensils that I find really helpful in cooking and serving food. I don't like having a ton of stuff, especially gimmicky things lying around the kitchen. They've got to be simple, fit into the drawers, and really be super helpful. So here we go. And there's no affiliate links with these. These are just things that I have in our home that I find helpful. And there's a little video, a short on YouTube, where I show all of them. I'll also put photos in the blog post on familyfoodformoms.com. So the first one is a sturdy whisk. A nice solid whisk that's not flimsy and doesn't break easily, because you've got to work hard with those when you're whisking things, custard, eggs, sauce, cheese sauce, or even just whipping some cream by hand. A whisk is great. I use it a lot, even in a pan when we're making something like mushroom sauce and we add a little bit of thickener or making gravy. It's really great to have a couple of sturdy whisks for that. Then number 2 is a slotted spoon. I'm sure you've seen the large round slotted spoons, which you can use to scoop things out of boiling water or slowly lower things into the water, like an egg to be boiled. I also like to use these when serving food, because it's great to be able to get your bolognese out of the pot with a little less water in it if you're having it on wraps or rolls. And it's so great to be able to just have less liquid on your plate. Again, if something like stroganoff, you want a little bit less sauce, anything that you want to get out of the container onto your plate that requires not too much liquid, then it's really helpful to use the slotted spoon. Number 3, a spaghetti spoon. Recently, we had pasta when we had friends over, and they were surprised to see the spaghetti spoon and expressed an interest. It's really great to be able to lift spaghetti or pasta out of the boiling water, and most of them have a hole in the middle which shows your portion size when you're cooking spaghetti for one person. But it's just a great tool to be able to work with pasta. You just need to be careful not to squish it if it's well cooked and you're mixing it with a spaghetti spoon. It can get crushed. So be careful of that. But it's generally very helpful when you're cooking your pasta and you want to taste some to see if it's ready. You can scoop some out, etc. Number 4, a mini grater. You get those flat graters that you just hold in one hand over your food, and then you grate from there. And it's a really quick way just to put some cheese on your meal. And you get ones that are zesters for maybe lemon peel or orange peel. Adding that to soup or to dessert or to ice cream is delicious. And then you get the small hole grater as well, where if you want to put some Parmigiano Reggiano, I think is how you say it, on your meal, some Parmesan cheese, anything that's good in a small grated size. So those are really helpful to have the tiny little graters that you can do over your food instead of a whole big one with a plate every time. Number 5 is a cheese slicer. This is a simple one, but so useful. It makes those lovely thin slices of cheese, and then you can quickly get some onto a plate to serve with a meal. I really enjoy our cheese slicer. It's so great for the fancy cheeses as well, because it slices them so nice and thinly. Number 6, a pair of tongs is so useful in the kitchen. I like the ones that have the silicone covers over the tong parts. These are so useful for many things. If you're cooking something and you need to take them out piece by piece, or you need to put things into boiling water, you can use them with the grill. You can use them when serving food. If you're serving a stir-fry mix with cabbage or a salad, tongs are so useful for serving those. So I really enjoy my tongs. Number 7, a silicone pastry brush. This is so useful for putting egg wash on pastry or sauces on meat. I find it's much easier to clean than a wooden pastry brush. and it really works well. So silicone pastry brush or sauce on meat brush. Number 8 is a few silicone spatulas. These are so great for wiping out bowls when baking or scraping things into containers, even deglazing the bottom of a pan a little bit. I find the silicone is so helpful because it won't melt and it works really well to scrape and clean. Number 9, similar to that, is the silicone egg lifter. I find these so helpful because often I've had rubber or plastic ones that you can't really use in a hot pan because they'll melt, or I've had ones that have got plastic handles that you put on the side of the pan and then it melts, or sometimes you get the wooden or the metallic egg lifters, and those can damage the pan, especially non-stick, or we use diamond coated pans, and they can be damaged with the wrong implements. So we like to use the silicone for those. It works great and it doesn't damage anything or melt. Then lastly, number 10 is the vegetable peeler. You can use this for obvious things like peeling carrots, peeling potatoes. But what I really enjoy is when we want to make zucchini ribbons or carrot ribbons, carrots for a carrot salad, or zucchini to steam slightly as a good vegetable. The vegetable peeler is really great at making those thin and just the right thickness for steaming them for a nice side dish. Then one more. It's not actually a utensil, but I find it very useful, and that is silicone muffin cups. I find the silicone muffin trays too bendy when you try to lift them out the oven and they're all wobbly. I guess you can put them onto a baking tray and use those. I like to use ordinary muffin trays with the silicone muffin cups in them, and then you can take them out individually in the cups, or you can peel them out of the cups. So those are obviously reusable and easy to wash, and they're really great health-wise. They're much better than the paper ones, so it's great to have silicone muffin cups for muffins, for breakfast. Eggs can be done in those, any kind of cupcakes. They really work well. So those are just some things that I've really enjoyed using to make life easier for me in the kitchen, and they're not expensive at all, and they're quite easily available. So perhaps you could add some of those to your Christmas wish list. Then some larger items that I really enjoy using in the kitchen as well. A sieve is great, but I enjoy one that has legs. So a standing sieve is so much easier to use. It can be used in a way similar to a colander to drain pasta and other food, or it can be used by placing it in a bowl and then sieving your flour or whatever. It's so much easier to balance than having to hook the sieve on and hold it while you sieve something. Then a citrus juicer is so useful. My favorite one is one that you put on the counter and then you cut the citrus in half and just juice it on there, and then the liquid collects in the bottom and you can pour it out into whatever you're making. I do prefer that to the handheld one, but that can also be useful to juice over a pot or anything that needs to have the juice in it and it's on the stove or something. So a citrus juice is very useful. I put lots of lemon juice on fish when I'm cooking them in a casserole dish. Then silicone baking mats are very useful. Instead of using parchment paper on a baking tray, you can use a silicone baking mat and then wash it in between uses. Another great one is a pair of herb scissors. If you like to chop your herbs with a knife, that's great. I know the best way is to roll them up and then slice them, but sometimes that can cause the liquid to come out of the herbs. It bleeds a little bit on the chopping board. So you probably get more fragrant results if you use a herb scissors. So it's basically a scissors with more than one blade, and it chops quite a lot of herbs at a time. Those are quite fun to have. Then a spiralizer is great fun. We've had various kinds over the years. It's great to be able to make strings of zucchini, carrot, even cucumber, It's really nice for adding those to a pasta dish or using them instead of pasta or even in a salad, a vegetable spiralizer. But the thing about these is they can become quite clunky and take up a lot of space. And then you do get ones that are simpler. So I prefer the simpler kind. You also get a julienne tool, which is a tool that has 9 holes that you push a vegetable through, and it's got blades at the top, so it slices the vegetable into julienne size pieces, which can be quite fun. Lastly, a metal or stainless steel vegetable steamer is great. I don't like to use those on the stove because, forgetful as I am, often the water runs out and the pot burns and the vegetables burn and they taste terrible. But I've recently discovered that you can put a vegetable steamer into an instant pot and then the water won't run out because it's got an off switch. You set it for a time and then it turns off. And also because it's closed, the water stays inside. It steams and stays in the pot. So to steam vegetables in the vegetable steamer, you would simply put 1.5 cups of water into your Instant Pot, then put the vegetable steamer in and whatever vegetables you'd like to steam on top, and then you simply set it to pressure cook for 0 minutes. Most vegetables will work with this. Some of them you may need 1 to 5 minutes. Potatoes would need 5 minutes. Carrots would probably need 3 to 4 minutes. But most vegetables will be soft with 0 minutes. So what that means is you start the pressure cooker, you set it to 0 minutes, and then it brings it up to pressure over about 10 minutes. And then it brings the pressure down. You can leave it to release for about 10 minutes and then release it yourself. And then your broccoli or cauliflower or zucchini should be the perfect softness. Asparagus, green beans, they're all delicious. And then you can add a little butter and salt when you're done. So that's a really great way to steam vegetables if you don't have a vegetable steamer. Or like mine, if it's starting to not work so well after about 20 years of use. I hope you're inspired by some of these. Remember that you don't need fancy things to be a great cook, but sometimes these things are really helpful. Remember to look for the video on YouTube under Family Food for Moms, or alternatively go to familyfoodformoms.com to the blog post for this podcast episode, and you'll see the photos and details there. Thanks for joining me. Have a blessed week.